UConn has had a ton of success in basketball recently, but their football program is a different story. They haven't had a winning season since 2010, and they've been so bad that college football revamp removed them from the game to replace them with Charlotte. Today I'm giving myself 10 seasons to win it all with them, but every year I have to schedule 6 top 25 teams, and I can only hop into 2 of them myself. I'll also only be allowed to go after 3-star recruits until we win 10 games, so grab some popcorn because I have a lot of work to do. If I can't win a championship in this 10-year span, I'm gonna have to give away a jersey to one of you all. And we're starting as a 60 overall team, but if we can come out on top of some of these recruiting battles, we won't be that terrible next year. Now, we still might not win a game next season, but they should be much closer, and I'd honestly be upset Arkansas stole this corner for us if it wasn't for Damian Todd committing. On top of that, everybody else is coming for this game against Rutgers, and neither of us have a win. Since we're such a low overall team, I'm not expecting much, but if we could pull this off, that would be incredible, and what a catch that was from Danian. I cannot believe that actually worked out for us in our favor, but we are going to get into the end zone, and it's just unfortunate that our defense has not been good enough to get many stops. They have stepped it up here in the third quarter though, so we're only within a possession, and on 4th down, Jolly is going to pick it up, so we might be able to make this a magical visit week. However, it turns out that this team was not capable of doing that, and I hope that we were still able to get a couple of commits. All we were able to get was a 73 overall defensive tackle, and that's a major problem for us considering we're still in a ton of tight battles. Honestly, I'm just really struggling to attract players to come to Connecticut, and I don't think these blowout losses are helping either. Every single lineman we wanted just didn't choose our team, and I don't think it's any surprise that in our first season at UConn, we ended up going 0-12. It might look bad now, but I do have a plan. It all starts with us getting a few different transfers from smaller schools, and then on top of that, I'm going to make sure we land these 2 3-star recruits. Now keep in mind, when you see the 78th best class in the country, you might think it's terrible, but with the additions of Garrett Peoples and Joey Britt, I think it's going to end up being pretty solid. I mean, the good part is I won't have to start Zion Turner anymore, because now we have freshman Damian Todd at quarterback, and he might go 0-12 with this schedule, but at least he can develop in the process. Our preseason projection is all the way at the bottom at 126, but there is positive news, and that's that we're already a 68 overall. I doubt we're going to beat the Bulls, but if we end up winning a game this season, it would be this one, and we end up pounding them. Damian Todd had a terrible game, but apparently Victor Rosa took over, and because he's our senior running back that's about to graduate, I'm looking for his replacement right now. I'm a little surprised at how well we're competing, but ever since the Miami one, we've just fallen off of a cliff. There is some light at the end of the tunnel though, and that's this game against the Cardinals, which is visit week for almost all the recruits on our board. If we can beat Ball State, a lot of them should commit to the team, and even though it took a couple different tries, we ended up scoring first. Unfortunately, by the end of the third, we were down by 6, and it just got worse from there. That's not the result I was looking for during visit week, but I think all these recruits realized how easy it would be to start for us as we got so many different commits. We ended up finishing 1-10, which isn't exactly ideal, but some of these scores were close, and I just hate the fact that I keep getting fired. It's happened every year so far, which will just reset my skill tree, and it's frustrating, but we have started the upwards climb. Our only goal for season 3 will be to win at least 2 games, and once again, the transfers are just rolling in. I had to step it up, and I delivered with the 38th best recruiting class, which is pretty great when you remember that I'm only allowed to recruit 3 stars or below. 69 overall athlete George Harris ends up becoming a 78 overall wide receiver, and I would be pumped, but I just realized we only have 3 cornerbacks. I have a feeling that this next season might be just as bad as this previous one was, but I at least made sure that all of our top 25 matchups came at the end of the season instead of the beginning, so that way, even though we might really stink, we have a chance at winning some of them. Boston College obliterated us to open it up, but we took down Buffalo last year, and now we're a 72 overall, so I was hoping this went a different way than it did. As a freshman, Damian Todd wasn't great, so it should only be upwards from here, but even against Ball State, we are struggling. I did remember to recruit cornerbacks though, even though the selection isn't all that great, and I think this class would be really solid if I'm able to land every single player on my board. We just aren't able to beat anybody though, so going into the tougher half of the season, unless we pull off a miracle, we can expect to go 0-12. Everybody's scheduled for visit week against Kansas this year, but like expected, it's not going to go well, so I didn't even want to jump into it, but at least all 6 of these players have committed. It's pretty upsetting that we couldn't even win once with this team, but Damian Todd had to have gotten hurt because our backup had to play a bunch, and I don't know why my AD thinks we're going to beat number 5 Notre Dame. James Bordeaux IV needs to figure out the secret formula, but the 6'4" wide receiver doesn't want to stick around to see if that can happen. Transfers have also given up on coming in here, so all incoming talent had to come from recruiting, and even though it's not as good as last year's, 58th in the country does not do this class justice at all, as there are so many talented players in here that are even better than the ones I got last season. JUCO John Sutton immediately becomes our starting halfback, and even though our best player is a kicker, I think the team made a lot of positive strides during the offseason. It might not matter because this schedule is looking extremely tough, but I have to hope for the best, and I'm thrilled that we're not projected to be the worst team in the country. We're almost up to an 80 overall, which we should hit next season, but until then, we'll probably struggle like at Syracuse, and this was expected. Now, at some point, we need to figure out how to win 10 games in a season because I'm sick of only being able to go after 3-star recruits, but I think it's going to be a bit because even against Buffalo, we're getting blown out. That 10-year time frame to win a championship might seem like a long time, but it's already season 4 and it's not looking any better for us. I made Pitt one of our main visit weeks because I didn't have any better options, and of course we're not going to win, which stinks because unlike the previous years, only 2 people committed, and this is the best roster we've had yet, so I'm not sure what the issue is. I want to hop into a game just to prove we're not that terrible, but what I'm starting to realize is Damian Todd doesn't have as much time in the pocket as he needs. I didn't focus on offensive line until recently, so they're going to take a little bit longer to develop than everybody else, and it makes it extremely hard to run the ball. The option should work here though, but the throw is going to go backwards. Please just pick this up, Sutton. What is going on? I don't even know how to describe how terrible this team is right now. In year number 4, I don't even know what to do. If our kicker can hit it from here, that would be a miracle, and look at the leg he has. I was not expecting it to be that strong, but backup TJ Malley's in the game, and with 4 minutes remaining, we are down by 14 with the ball. This is a crucial 4th and 6 that we need to pick up. He actually delivers a great throw, and I don't think you all understand how desperately we need to win this. Drops are going to hurt us though, as it's now 3rd and 10. It looks like TJ has some legs on him, which is going to easily let us get this first down, and to be honest, if he can pull this off, he's going to be a permanent starter. However, it is already 4th and 10 though, so I'm going to have to hope that this route can beat man coverage and it's going to get intercepted instead. We are going to lose our 10th game in a row. To my surprise, we somehow beat Cincinnati though, and I'm simply just not going to question it because 1 win is better than none. Damian Todd's going to be a senior next year, and he still hasn't had a season where he's thrown more touchdowns than interceptions, so that's always great, and at all of our other skill positions, nobody's put up any numbers that really stand out. The only thing that caught me by surprise is somehow our left end had 80 tackles, and I hope he doesn't transfer out because we're about to be on our 5th head coach. He ended up staying, but unfortunately James Lewis left the program, so I'm not thrilled, especially because signing day went absolutely atrociously for us. We lost out on so many different players, leaving us with the 63rd best class, and I just have to hope that over the course of 4 or 5 years, some of these guys can become like 90 overalls. As for the first group of guys that I've recruited, only a couple of them made it to that threshold, and going into year 5 of 10, I'm just hoping that we can win at least a few games this season. We are an 86 overall, but we're still projected to finish 124th, so we'll see what happens, and to start the year against Buffalo, we are going to win by 7. Maybe Damian Todd's senior year is when he finally figures things out, and I want to jump into this game at number 25 Syracuse. If we come out on top of this one, we might be able to get the ball rolling, and it's also always a good time in the Carrier Dome. Here on 3rd down, we could get an early stop if we could hold them, and there's no way that throw is getting off. Their kicker might not even have the leg for this one, and it's going to be just in there, so that's a little frustrating, but I trust Damian Todd to move us all the way down the field. I have to make sure that we respond back because that'll give us the best chance at winning this game, and our running back's a bit slow, so now that we're inside the 5, I'm just going to have to go with the pass. Our wide receiver creates no separation, and that should not have been an interception. Maybe we can get a safety. I'm just going to shoot in this gap, and that's what's going to happen, but ever since that play, I've been trying to move the ball down the field, and it's just not working. There's been a ton of drops, and I have no time in the pocket to get a throw out, so once the Syracuse offense decided to wake up a little bit, it just feels like we're out of this already. I'm not going to lie, boys. I'm not going to miss Damian Todd, and we just need a miracle at this point, which is not going to happen. He throws another interception, so it's time for the senior to go ahead and graduate. Depending on this result, I might make a change, and we are going to lose to App State, so I think it's time we start developing sophomore quarterback Antonio Butler. Number 3 Notre Dame is a brutal first matchup for him, but I need him to start getting some reps, and I'm going to schedule everybody for the Maryland week, so this will be the other game that I jump into. Antonio Butler should be the starter for the next few seasons, so I'm excited to start slinging it with him, and even though none of our wide receivers seem to be able to catch the ball, I did figure out that he is super fast on the ground, which is amazing because we can run the option if we need to, and that's also going to make our offense even harder to stop. To end the half, we should be taking a 14-3 lead on them, but the refs are challenging if we got in or not, and it looks like he's going to be marked a little bit short. It's not the end of the world though, as we're still able to get in, and I'm excited because I think this could be the turning point in our season. Our defense has been incredible all day, as with 4 minutes left, Maryland only has 3 points, and here on 4th and 8, I'm hoping that we can get one final stop on the Terrapins, but we can't. Either way, now that we're in this position, we should be victorious, assuming we don't make any dumb mistakes, and McDaniel's a wide receiver, but he's quick. On 3rd and 4, Antonio Butler's going to keep it on the read option for another first, and I'm glad to say that we have finally won another game. For some reason, Georgia Southern's undefeated though, and this was supposed to be one of our easier matchups, but it clearly wasn't, so I'm a little annoyed because we would not have gone up against them if I would have known that. I personally thought everything would change after the Maryland win, but we're now on a 6-game losing streak, and to end our season, we're going to be playing playing at James Madison, where we're going to lose by 9. The only two things we have going for us right now is UConn isn't firing me immediately, and our recruiting class feels extremely solid, even if a lot of the players in here are JUCOs. For example, Will Brown's going to have an amazing 2 years, and we need all the help we can get because we have yet to have a 1,000-yard receiver. Sophomore Joe Waters did clear over 1,000 rushing yards though, but still, none of our quarterbacks were able to finish with more touchdowns than interceptions. That's a trend that has been going on for 5 seasons now, and I tried to avoid redshirting freshmen so they wouldn't transfer out, but that did not make a difference. We're going to lose quite a few people that I thought would have made our team pretty good, but they did absolutely nothing in their time here, and I'm not sure how signing day is going to go, but I'm hoping I can add all 7 of these guys to our class. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing much yellow here, and I'm not sure what happened to our huge lead on these 3 players. Even without a kicker, I think that ended up being our best recruiting class ranking yet, but 61 overall Dwayne Gibson is not going to get the job done. 67 athlete Michael Walton is a nice surprise though, as he becomes a 77 halfback, and our top 8 highest overall players are all seniors, so we need to make sure that we take advantage of that. I'm hoping that with this starting schedule, season 6 is the year we sneak into a bowl game, but there are obviously no guarantees, and in week 1 against North Texas, we're going to win by 3. To do better than last season, all we have to do is win at least 3 games, and we're an 88 overall, so that should be possible, but Sim has not been in our favor so far, and against Hawaii, we're going to lose by 17. I don't quite understand why we're still struggling so much, but it is a realistic rebuild, and look at that, we just got back-to-back wins. I don't know why, but I'm jumping into the Notre Dame one, and we might get embarrassed in front of this packed crowd. I figured on the off chance that we're able to pull this one out, that would be program changing, but with a little less than 2 minutes remaining in the first half, the offense just hasn't found the end zone. It's just really frustrating because I really want to get us on the board, and I'm starting to sling it a lot better than I have been, but our starting quarterback is still more of a runner than a passer, which could be a problem. It's great for escaping the pocket, but I need him to step up and make the right throws when it matters like that, and our 61 overall kicker missed the extra point, so that is a bit frustrating, but we're going to go for the end zone again, and Moore is getting wide open. If I've learned anything, this recruiting class needs to contain some special teams, and this is 4 down territory, but hopefully we can get in on this play. I'm also going to make sure that I no longer sim the extra points, and on 3rd and goal here, a stop would be huge, and I am going to be able to get it. There's actually a chance that we're able to pull off the upset, and look at Hall breaking free from the defense, going down at the 1, helping us get our first lead on the Fighting Irish. Oh no, we did not just fumble that ball. No. You have got to be kidding me. I am challenging this immediately, and they're not even reviewing the right thing. This might be one of the clutchest punch-outs I have ever seen, and because of it, we're going to lose a game that I thought we were going to end up winning. A 3rd and 4 stop, though, could actually still keep us in it, and they went with 4 verticals, and they're not going to make the right throw. A touchdown gets us the massive upset, and we're going to get some good blocks on the kick return. Look at 75 go. This is going to get us all the way to midfield. With 36 seconds left, we are already at the 25-yard line. We're going to drop it, though. So this is an enormous 4th and 8. They're going to send the blitz, and the corner route is open. The pressure is on right now, but if we're ever going to build momentum up in this rebuild, this is our chance to do it. But we have no timeouts remaining, so I have to make sure we don't get tackled in bounds, and Butler's going to take it in. I can't believe it, but we are going to upset number 7 Notre Dame at their place, and we're just going to be out here in 3-man deep for the last play to go ahead, secure the win, and why is that throw so perfect? No. There's no way that they're getting in. I don't even know what to say. And how did they burn us over the top on man up 3 deep? This season's now a lost cause, and honestly, I don't even care, because I don't even know how to express how pissed off I am right now. Somehow we beat number 11 Tennessee though, so going into visit week against Wyoming, maybe it's not the end of the world. I'd like to think that we would win this one relatively easily, and so far I've been very impressed with how Antonio Butler is starting to develop. We have an 8-point lead going into the half, and now I'm confident that if he needs to make a throw in the clutch, he's able to deliver like that. Of course, the refs are going to have to challenge it for no reason, but not only was it a great pass, but also an amazing catch. I would expect that any recruit that visited this week should be willing to commit after seeing us win, which ended up being the case for what I believe is going to be our best recruiting class yet, even though it's still only 3 stars. If we end up winning either of these final 2 games, we're going to make a bowl game, but unfortunately, I have to sim them, and against Michigan, we're going to lose by 17, so I'm expecting Florida State won't go any better, and we actually destroyed them. I am so proud of our 6-6 finish, and Antonio Butler had more touchdowns than interceptions. That's the first time that's happened for us in this dynasty, but he has been a beast, and we still don't have a 1,000-yard receiver, but I don't care because we're finally playing in a bowl game. It's going to be a snow battle versus Charlotte, and to be honest, I can barely see the field. To open it up, instead of taking our 3, I'm going to go for the touchdown on our first drive, and I understand it is a bit risky, but I think it's going to pay off for us. I keep forgetting that our kicker is terrible, as we have now missed yet another extra point, and I hope that that sack didn't take us out of field goal range, as that was extremely close. Even though Charlotte's ranked 20th in the country, this game has felt relatively easy, and it feels good to finally have a successful season at UConn. We have gotten our first bowl win in this rebuild, and and that awarded me my first contract extension. So many years of failure have all led to this, and I hate to say goodbye to a lot of these studs, but we're finally getting some players into the NFL. This recruiting class only had 15 players in it, but don't let that fool you, because even though it's ranked as the 62nd best in the country, I'd say it's our most important one yet, as Tony Carter will probably be the guy that has a chance at bringing us a championship. Not that Antonio Butler can't get it done, but he's already a senior, and I don't think this team is quite ready yet. But if we could make a run, that would be great, because I only have 4 years left to win it all. We're a 90 overall and projected to be a top 40 team, so I'm kind of optimistic, but in reality, I've seen stupid things happen on this game, and if we lose to Bowling Green, I would have lost my mind. My thought process is we should be able to win these first 5 games at least, and at Temple, we get it by 8, and the only thing I can really complain about is I wish we were able to go after more than just 3 stars. If we could miraculously finish with 10 wins this season, that could be something that changes, but I feel like I set the threshold a little higher than I should have because I was trying to make it a hard challenge. Now, I'm not happy that we just lost to Hawaii, but at least we bounced back against Buffalo, and I'm going to make sure that everybody's on a visit for the Notre Dame game. I'm not expecting us to beat Florida, but I just want to get revenge on the Irish, and there's no way. We are actually 6-1 with this team and ranked inside the top 25. We're even annihilating Northwestern by a ton, and I feel like we have a decent chance against the #1 team. Here on 3rd and goal, they're going with the run, and I shot the gap, and instead of taking their 3, they're going to be aggressive, going for the touchdown, and he's going to be marked short. As long as we don't take a safety, that was one of the most clutch tackles I've ever made, and after working it 99 yards down the field, Waters should be able to finish it off. Midway through the 3rd quarter, we still have our 7-point lead on the Irish, and I'm hoping that we're able to get into the end zone again on this drive to put us up 14. So I just have to continue to make the right reads, and I'm going to try to take off with Antonio Butler. He's going to make one man miss the sack, and what a dot. After losing to them on the last play last year, I don't want this to even be close, and I can't believe we've held Notre Dame to just 7 points. Who would have thought we'd beat the #1 team in the country? And it's amazing for the program because I think everybody that I wanted on our board has already committed. After a couple of bye weeks, I'm a bit surprised, but we're only ranked 11th compared to everybody else, and it's going to be a hard ending to the season, but I got to run to the gym first. Alright, now that I'm back, I think I want to play the LSU game, and if we're able to pull this one off and then beat Texas, we could probably make the playoffs. The main issue we're going to face is we are playing in Death Valley though, so I'm going to have to be on top of my A game, and to be honest, so far that has not happened. We need to get a 3rd down stop here, we can't do it, and if I can't end the half with us getting onto the board, I'm going to pretty much consider this one already over. Their man coverage has been completely clamps, and I knew it was going to be a tough one going into it, but I didn't expect the Tigers to do this well. In my opinion, this is either touchdown or bust. I don't want to take a field goal. I want to get it back within at least 14. And we're finally starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. Brett Moore's going to get wide open, and we might have started out down 21-0, but I feel like we're bouncing back and can still win it. Waters should be able to bust this one in pretty easily, but that was the last time something would go right for us, as with 2.5 minutes remaining, we are trailing by 24. It all happened so fast, and I do want to blame Antonio Butler for having a noodle of an arm in the second half, but either way, we're picking up our 2nd loss of the year, and we really need Sim to go in our favor against Cal, which it does. Going into the Texas game, they're coming off of a loss to LSU, and we're sitting at number 11, but even if we win this, I think the playoffs are a long shot for us, and we get pounded. If anything, the more important game is this one against Navy, and we're going to lose, so it's not even possible for us to get 10 wins, and that sucks because next year I won't be able to go after 4- and 5-star recruits. Now, I was a little surprised that Antonio Butler was a Heisman finalist, but he only threw 3 interceptions, so that explains it a little bit more. Since this bowl result doesn't really matter that much, I'm just going to go ahead and sim. We're going to beat North Texas, and the clock is ticking because I only have 3 years left in this rebuild. We're going to lose quite a few players to graduation. All these guys were some of the original players that I brought in, including wide receiver John Hall, who was the first 1,000-yard receiver in this rebuild. He's not going to be easy to replace, but I'm trying my best to do so, and after landing both of those receiving prospects, I brought in the best class yet. The fact that we could finish at 32 with only 3-star recruits is incredibly impressive, and I don't know how I keep finding these athletes with huge overall boosts. Center Jared Young is the highest overall player that we've been able to achieve yet, and I'm about to make a tough decision because I think I want to start freshman Tony Carter. He's so much faster than our other 2 options, and if this goes on for 3 years, he'll still be here, so it's time for him to start his development with this extremely tough schedule. Well, it turns out we only went up 1 overall in the offseason, but we're projected to finish 13th, and as long as we take care of business, it should be a good year, but we lose to Eastern Michigan. There are 74 overall teams, so I don't know how that's possible, but I'm the one that wanted to develop the freshman quarterback, so maybe this year's going to be a bit rough. I might as well just advance advance to the Auburn one and see what stuff happens, but it looks like it's going to come with a couple of losses. We're 3-2 going into it, and they're ranked 14th in the country. They're hosting this game, and they obliterate us. I'm going to consider this season a scratch because I've still brought in some really helpful players. And the last guy I want is JUCO Michael Gordon, who's going to be on a visit with everybody else for this Missouri game. They were ranked to start the year, and that result against Eastern Michigan just really changed my perspective about the season. I just want to use it to make sure everybody has a better chance at developing, and I don't think we're going to lose too many crucial seniors, so that's okay. Clearly, we're on the right path as we're going to pound Missouri by 30, and I'm going to stick by freshman Tony Carter. If Micah Gordon would just commit, he'd have a new target next season, but that's not going our way, along with the Notre Dame game. LSU also beat us once again, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're back to real life as we finish below 500. Now I only have 2 years left to win the Huskies a national championship, and Micah Gordon would rather go to Wake Forest, and I'm going to have to use our one open the door just to get back into this battle where we're only behind by 300. I need him desperately so Tony Carter can throw for a lot more touchdowns, and he ran the ball pretty well alongside Michael Walton, but we just need a bit more. Nobody on this receiving core was happy with all the looks they got, and I guess I was wrong about the talent we had because there are 6 players that are set to go on to the NFL. We might not even have enough points to get both of these final guys on our board, and it's time for the moment of truth where I am going to see only one yellow name. The 62nd class is not very impressive, and I am happy with Micah Gordon along with some of these other JUCOs, but there is one issue as we lost out on Jared Rogers. We needed a tight end super bad, so I'm hoping Dane Evans can play there as he's also 74, and thankfully this position is now resolved. As for everywhere else, this has to be the most 90 overalls that we have ever had on a team, and hopefully this is the year that we take down all 6 of the top 25 teams that we're forced to schedule. The game doesn't seem to have much faith in us as they're projecting us to finish 52nd, but I am confident in this team's abilities, and if we lose to Eastern Michigan again, I'd lose my mind. We should be able to go into the Miami game undefeated, and even though they're on a 2-game losing streak, I am a little bit nervous to sim it, but we didn't have a choice. Ole Miss has already lost 2 as well, so I guess we just need to get into the next one, and that'll be enough to get us inside the top 20. Since we're a 93 overall, I feel like we should be able to compete with about every team on our schedule, and I can't believe how much everybody's fallen off of a cliff besides Notre Dame, but first we have to take on Illinois, and that's going to go to overtime, but since we got the win in all of these commits, I'm going to want to jump into the next matchup. The Buckeyes are 2-3, but they're a 91 overall team, and since they're hosting, I'm terrified of how this could go. It's pretty much going to be a toss-up, so we need to play as best as we can against them, and if we can come out on top, this should be the year we make it into the playoffs. I could see Notre Dame beating us, but besides them, the rest of our schedule is pretty easy, and here on 3rd and 9, it looks like they're going with the wide receiver screen, so we should box this up if we make a tackle. I'm honestly not sure if this team has the speed to beat the Buckeyes over the top, but I'm going to go for it anyway, and that is not going to be a far enough throw. Watson comes down with it, but Tony Carter doesn't seem to have the arm strength we need to beat the defense over the top. Instead, we'll just pound the rock with him for touchdowns, and my goal is to end the first half by holding the Buckeyes and then going down the field and getting another 7, but we should have picked that. There's a reason that guy's a cornerback and not a wide receiver, and I'm not happy that it's a 1-possession game, but I guess you could still say it's early on, and let's see what Tony Carter can do. That spin move he just did was filthy, and hopefully on 3rd down we can go over the top of the defense. I'm going to roll out, and what a throw that could have been. The Ohio State defender made a great play, but with 4 minutes left, we're still up by 14, and we're going to stop them. That was a terrible 4th down play call. I'm not sure why they thought it would work out for them, but fortunately, after finishing that drive with the touchdown and getting them to a 4th and 8 here where we're hopefully going to stop him, it is going to all be over. I know the Buckeyes are 2-3, but this still feels like a massive win for us, and next up is going to be Notre Dame. They're coming off a loss to number 1 USC, so we might be able to take them down, but they also have a 99 offense. It's going to be very difficult to stop these 2 studs, especially because they have the home field advantage, but after trading touchdowns back and forth, we have them on a 3rd and 12 where we're going to stop them. I'd like to end the first quarter with another 7, and that is what we are going to do, but we all know the Irish are not going to go away easily, and that's a great sack. 3rd and 11 now, they're going to go for my user, and I'm knocking that away. So we're going to hold the Irish to 3 when they were on the 5 at one point. Tony Carter's done a pretty solid job of slinging the rock so far. I'm not seeing anything open against their man-to-man coverage though. It's very tight, and I might be able to make a play, but they get the sack. Fortunately, that has not changed much about how this game has gone, because midway through the 3rd quarter, we're going to go up by 2 possessions, and to end it, it might be 4, assuming this slant holds on to it. All I'm going to say is this showing has been incredibly impressive for our offense, and it's hard to believe we're on an 8-game winning streak. We're now the number 1 team in the country, which is just crazy, but I have to sim these final 4 matchups, and we're going to see how that goes. I don't really see a planet where we end up losing to Marshall at home, but Cal might be a bit tougher, and thankfully we are going to win by 14. Last up is Western Michigan, and again, this should be relatively easy, so we're undefeated, and there isn't a conference championship game for me to hop into. That means even though Michael Walton's in contention for the Heisman, he's probably not going to win it, but at least we are finally the best independent independent school. Tony Carter didn't change much from his freshman year besides his completion percentage, but Michael Walton as a junior almost doubled the amount of touchdowns he scored. Our rushing attack was lethal this year, and we almost had a 1,000-yard wide receiver. But anyways, let's just go ahead and get into the playoffs. And you can complain about it in the comments if you want, but I'm rearranging the top 4. This is a much more realistic bracket than what the game generated for us. And to open up the semifinals, Michigan beat USC. If we can win this one, we'll play them in the championship. And it's coming down hard, which favors the run over the pass, which doesn't exactly fit our play style. It does during sim, but I like to pass it more than I run it, and I'm going to find Seth Williams on that post route getting down to the 10. From here though, now we'll probably go with some option runs just to pound it in, assuming we can get in. And since I play on Heisman difficulty, I'd rather just pass it. Of course, I just made a terrible read. This is why I don't run the ball. I don't run the option. I only sling it, and we need to make a tackle. Come on. At least we've gotten them to a 3rd and 10. They shouldn't be able to pick this up, but I guess we're playing hard flats. That's not how that cover 3 was supposed to work, but now they've at least guaranteed themselves the field goal, which is all they're going to get. Actually, they're going for it on 4th and 1, and we're going to get the stop. So that is huge, as we have both made mistakes, and now I'm going to try to take the top off of the defense, but that corner stuck with him like glue. Maybe I should just slow it down and not try for big plays. With 2 minutes left in the first half, still nobody has scored, and it's been pretty brutal to watch, but at least we should on this possession. And I don't think there's much Oklahoma State can do, as Walton is just a little bit quicker. It seems like every point's going to matter in this game, and we have had nightmares with Hail Marys before, so if we give this up, I'm going to be very frustrated. They came close, but it is 7-0, and they opened up the second half getting in the field goal range, but that's what they're going to get. This time I can actually say that, as they're settling for 3, and this time running this play, I'm not going to hit L1, I'm not going to pitch it, and he got taken out anyways. There is no more room for mistakes, as we need to get in here, and it's a good thing that Michael Walton is a unit. I can't believe they're punting it back to us with 4 minutes left, but that should seal it, because we should be able to run out quite a bit of clock on this drive, and it looks like it's going to be us versus Michigan State in the national championship. To officially confirm that, we just need to hold them on this 4th and 8, and their quarterback is going to throw it right into what should be an interception. Chambers holds on to it, he comes down with it, he breaks 1 tackle, and UConn is on their way to the big game. It turns out I made the right decision in starting Tony Carter, and it's been really shocking how quickly he's developed. Here we are at Lucas Oil Stadium, the home of my favorite team, the Colts, and on our first drive, they've gotten us to a 3rd and 4 where their man coverage is going to lock up, but Tony Carter is just quick enough to get around the defensive ends. Our wide receivers might not be the best, but that hasn't ended up hurting us, and here on 1st and goal, you know we're getting in. I never thought I would run into the Spartans in a national championship, but I guess we have seen Otter from this game sim, and by the way, I am not a Michigan fan. I know there's a jersey behind me that's JJ McCarthy's, but that was from an Imperialism, and I just stink at this game. I have turned it back over to the Spartans. Anyways, what I wanted to say was my goal was to replace it with the Devin Leary Kentucky jersey, and being down 10-7 is not the end of the world. In fact, their kicker almost doinked it off the upright, and that could actually be a big deal because their defense is clamping up when it's man-to-man. I do see somebody open on the other side of the field, though. I always see those. I have eyes in the back of my head, and look at that. Just an easy touchdown, and here on 3rd and 3, let's put them in a box, but our cornerback got cooked instead. I still have 1 more seasons to win it all with the Spartans in case this championship game goes wrong, but I think a lot of these players will declare for the draft, so I would prefer if that didn't happen. Can we please make a tackle? As long as we can end the half with at least a field goal, I'll be happy, and Seth Williams has the defense beat. What a throw. I honestly wasn't sure if Tony Carter could deliver, but he's doing a fantastic job. I just avoided the sack, and I probably should have taken off because I just threw an interception. I'm glad that Sim was so kind to us because for some reason I just make so many mistakes, and there's no way that they're about to pull this one off. That tackle was so clutch because instead of getting 7, they only got 3, and since they opened up the 3rd quarter with a touchdown, we really needed that. Lawrence Trengen's gonna toast the defense, and there's no way anybody is gonna catch him. I am very thankful he pulled that one off, as we're gonna get a stop, and if all goes right, we'll be able to take a lead on this drive. I'm a little frustrated with the fact that we just dropped that ball, but it gave us a chance to bomb them over the top to Watson, and he's gonna break free. Nobody's gonna be able to tackle him besides maybe 23, and he goes down. Tom Watson might not look like it, but he actually has some jets on him, and it feels good to be up 28-27. To end the 3rd quarter, we should be able to hold them as well, as we have everybody around there to make a tackle. There's no way he's about to get up from this. Bring him down. Sometimes this game really questions your sanity, but once again, they are pressing us, and I don't know why they think they can stop Tom Watson. When do you think Michigan State's gonna learn? All they have to do is back everybody up and run man-to-man coverage, but they're not doing it. And I'm gonna go for 2 here just to try to make it a 2-possession game. I'm gonna use Tony Carter's legs, and that is gonna seal it. Or at least I'd like to think it would. I don't think we're gonna give up 2 touchdowns to Michigan State, and I didn't think the computer was gonna be smart enough, but they did take the field goal. Since this is a 10-year-old game, normally the CPU just doesn't have a brain, but all we have to do is rush for a few first downs. And the UConn rebuild is very close to being complete as Michael Walton puts 2 people in a spin cycle. I'm pretty sure that'll be it, and we can just run out the the clock, but this first down will definitely do it. And 9 seasons with the Huskies was enough to bring some hardware back to Hartford. If you all enjoyed this rebuild, make sure to check out this one that YouTube thinks you're going to love, and make sure to drop a like as well.